Javier has a blog called Shark Tank, which many of you may have read, or I'm certainly you know that you have heard of. Actually, in 2011 at CPAC, he was given the CPAC Award of Blogger of the Year. So certainly has some great credentials there. I know he's even been acknowledged by some national news sources as well. So I'm going to go ahead and let Javier tell his story. But again, you're looking forward to some great social media tools and tactics, and I hope that you benefit from them today. Let's welcome Javier.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for the introduction, and it's great to see some very nice, familiar faces, some very friendly faces, and not so friendly faces, friends, enemies. It's great. First of all, I want to add to what Yael said earlier. Pretty much, my question to you was this. It's simple. You know, I'm sure that there's a few of us in here that are already established media, if you would, and some that are aspiring media. Yes or no? Raise hands. Right? Well, basically, look. My whole point is this. Know why you're getting involved. Why are you getting involved in this? You know, you want to make a difference. You want to hold elected officials accountable. Well, know this, is that before these people become elected officials, they're first candidates. You know, so everyone's complaining now, hey, this person was elected in District 12, and this guy is a big schmuck, let's just say. You don't agree with him. Well, he became an elected schmuck. He was a candidate schmuck before he was an elected schmuck. So you voted him in, or you allowed him to be voted in. So again, we're going to keep elected officials accountable as well as candidates. And that leads into a little bit what Ms. Beatty said about me. Basically, I want to ask you, if you're going to get involved, please either find it, or if you already have it, thick skin. Okay? This is a blood sport. You know, you will make enemies. Whether you like it or not, you will paint a target on your back for what you do if you decide to go that route, the route that I've taken, Michelle Malk, and a lot of the people that call out candidates and elected officials for what they are. Now, back to the thick skin. And I want to say that because I said, I'm assuming there's people here that are going to listen to me and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing what he wants to do, or I follow the blog. I want to be that guy that reports, okay? Like I said, you're going to have detractors. These detractors are not going to like you. The people in here that may or may not agree with me or simply just disagree with me, I used to be friendly with, okay? They disagree with we have the same politics. Let me just tell you, we are all true conservatives, but they dislike how we go after some of their candidates, okay? Back in 2008, we went after Charlie Crist. Everyone loved Charlie back then. Charlie could do no wrong, right? Charlie was, 2009. Well, I back a little fellow by the name of Marco Rubio. So everyone jumped on down our back because we did so. Turns out now we have Democrat Charlie Crist. There was a reason why we went after this, but we still made a lot of enemies going on the way. Mr. Trento knows this as well with jihadis going after him. But again, know why you're running. Know why you're doing this, okay? If you're afraid to go after these candidates or elected officials, get out of this. Don't do it. There's no point. If you're going to write to make a difference and you're afraid to talk about elected officials and these candidates, if they do something wrong or if they have a misstep in their life, hey, then this is not the business for you. You're going to get attacked by everyone. So, and I want to set that precedent now because know that, because if you do get involved, you're going to get attacked. First of all, a little bit about the blog. We started in 2009, late 2009. I used to write for Red County. Mr. Zwire introduced me. I give him a lot of credit for introducing me to Red County. And, we followed the Rubio race. And we became pretty much hacks for Rubio, because, hey, he was a nice guy. He was a good guy. He gave me a lot of access. We followed West. We followed Rick Scott. We did well that year. Won this award, big whoopee. But then after the award, what do you do? Once you've established yourself, what do? You have to keep it up. You have to be true to yourself. You can't be true to whoever is paying you. You can't be true to whoever is telling you, hey, don't write about this guy. Don't say this about this guy because he's a good candidate. But what makes a candidate a good candidate and eventually an elected official? Are you going to not write about someone who's asking for your vote and happens to have an arrest? Should the voters know about that? Would you vote for a criminal? Would you vote for someone that was arrested for DUI or just last week? You have to be true to yourself. You know you're going to tick people off. You know you're going to upset your friend Joe, who's going to call you and rip you a new one because that's his candidate, and he thinks the guy is the best thing since sliced bread. So again, you have to be true to yourself. Know what you want to do, get to the point, and just say it. And again, you're going to make enemies. But the key is getting the truth out, because if you get into this little venture of yours, that's what people are going to count on. People are going to count on what you say. So again, I hate to be repetitive, but you have to be true to yourself and true to your readers, because then your following is going to expect that much of you. They're going to expect you to tell the truth. And again, they're not going to agree with you every single time, But at least you can go to bed at night saying, hey, I put the truth out there. I hurt a lot of people. I made more enemies. This kind of sucks. I have less friends today than I did yesterday. But at the end, you can sleep well because you did the right thing. How many people, remember, first of all, the mainstream media is not our friend. We all know this. They will not put out what needs to be put out about a certain, let's say, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent candidate, because the narrative they want to paint as, especially Republicans, is that they want the weakest Republican candidate to go against the Democrat. The weakest. They don't want to put out their baggage now. They want to wait. They don't want a bloody Republican primary, unless it's Charlie Crist or Marco Rubio, which I was pretty bloody, if you remember. They want the worst candidate to go up against the Democrat, because then what? They're going to unleash everything they already have and decimate that candidate and paint the whole party for what that candidate is, and that's not fair to everyone, because, hey, if we have a candidate, let's say in northern Florida, who in 2008 was arrested for I don't know what, we need to put that out there. If he wins the primary race, so be it, he wins. But people need to know, because you don't want to go home saying, hey, I voted for this guy today, and we lost, and I had no idea about this because the CBS, NBC, Palm Beach Post, Sun Sentinel, they didn't tell me about it. But then you find out that some blogger or some other alternative media outlet knew about this but chose not to bring this out because, hey, the guy was his friend. Is that fair to you? Is that fair to anyone? No. But again, it's something to think about. Again, you're going to make a lot of enemies. I have one of the biggest bullseyes in the whole country on my back right now, and I take that with a badge of honor. And I have, the detractors from both sides. The Democrats are not too fond of me. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz just had me booted out 2 Saturdays ago, personally had me booted out from, mind you, it was the Jefferson-Jackson dinner, their Democrat dinner, and for them letting me in, it was just stupid. They gave me a press pass to get in. They welcomed me with open arms, but then when Debbie saw me, her hair straightened out. She just she made a beeline to her handler. Her handler was pointing me out, and then they booted me in front of everyone. They interrupted Bill Nelson's speech to boot me, which is. But look, hey, but you know what? It is what it is, and there's a difference. The reason why they went after me is because I exposed them for who they are. And when you expose people who they are, whether they're Democrat or Republican, again, you're going to make enemies. And they're going to come out. You're going to get notes on your door. You're going to get the crank phone calls. You're going to get, this is another badge of honor. I have blogs dedicated to me, which is fantastic. Builds up my profile. But it's, again, you're gonna get this. So I just want you to rethink things over as far as getting into blogging or radio or whatever, because know that your background is gonna come up. Your family is gonna get attacked like mine's been attacked. Everything is gonna come up. So you just be ready for it. And again, you may have a friend who's working on a campaign. They don't like what you're writing. Well, expect that friend to eventually turn on you, and that'll tell you what kind of a friend that is. So it's something to keep in mind. Now let's talk about these elected officials and candidates. Okay, so how do we hold them accountable? Any ideas? Any questions? Anyone want to add to that? Take them to court. Okay, goo. Okay, I saw your truck outside. Great, take them to court. But first of all, they're running for your vote. Okay, so is it fair to call them out on personal stuff? Like, that's public record. It's public record, right? I've been called out on public record myself, which is fine. Is it fair? I think most of us agree. So why not? Again, you're going to tick a lot of people off, but people need to know this. What else can we do to keep them accountable? Let's say they're in office. Let's say they're already elected, okay? Should we, even if they are Republicans, you're going to get most of the scrutiny from Republicans. Should you call them out for a bad vote? You know? You can. If they vote the way you don't like, it's okay for you to write about it. I mean, I tick off, one of my closest friends is Senator Marco Rubio, and when I get a phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning, why'd you write that, dude? Why'd you write that? Well, you know what? I told him before he was elected, I said, look, I'm there from day one, but the minute you stray, I'm going to call you out. Same thing with Alan West, Governor Scott, everyone. You have to be true to yourself. So you call them out. If you're blogging, you call them out on the bad legislation that they either propose or they vote on. You have to. You have to keep their toes to the fire, if you would. You have to. So that's another way. Again, we can write all we want to them, but the key is once you establish your blog, or whatever you're doing, then you have a following. And you have to keep that following. How do you keep that following? By keeping your credibility up. Now, that being said, how do you build up your credibility? You know, everyone's on Twitter here, everyone's on Facebook, right? It takes a long time. You just don't, it doesn't happen overnight. You know, we started this blog in 2009, late 2009, and my big break came with some Palin video I shot in New Orleans in April the following year. But still, I didn't get to where I was. I mean, when we won the award, it was a fluke. It was like a perfect storm, you know. Everyone we've supported won, and it was kind of like a given that we won that award. We weren't expecting it. But we won, so we took advantage of that. We said, hey, we're going to promote this, and we're going to promote the blog, tweeting through Facebook, and through the conservative blogosphere. You know, you make a lot of friends, but you have to keep those friends, just like with anyone. You know, you don't want to lose those friends. You don't want to take anyone off. Once you garner those relationships, you have to cherish them, and you have to build on them. So we've done that with a lot of our friends. A lot of these private issues, we touch on everything, but like sometimes, like I spoke to Tom here the other day about an issue I had about Islamic fundamentalism. I reach out to him whenever I can, because I don't know anything about it. I know some about it, but he's like a pro. He's the guru. He's the anti-jihadi. So I go to him, but I keep that relationship with him. When it comes to something tax, I know who to reach out to. So you kind of have to develop these relationships and then add to them and just keep working them. It's just like any relationship. You know, it's like a girlfriend. You got to keep her happy. You got to buy her something. You got to take her out to dinner. Even if it's Burger King, you know, you still got to do it. You're laughing there. But the same thing goes with Twitter. You know, a lot of people, they appreciate the retweets. You know, I am so tech-tarded. Is that I wasn't really keen on the whole Twitter thing, but it's key. It's like you start following people, they start following you. You start retweeting them, they start retweeting you. And as you build that relationship, you're gonna get a tweet that goes out that it's gonna go viral. People are just gonna retweet, hey, because they're gonna reciprocate for what you've done for them. So that's a way of reaching out to them. And the same thing with Facebook. Now, mind you, everyone here spams everyone on Facebook. Okay, because I spam, everyone spams. It's like you get 20 messages from Joe Schmo on their article. Great, you know, so I'll post it up. So everyone spams everyone, but that's fine because that's how you get your name ID out. If you're not going to do it, no one's going to do it for you. So that's key. I mean, we have to exploit that. But again, it takes time for your blog or your radio blog has Rich knows. It takes time to develop. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. So you just be patient. Eventually, you may get maybe come a point where you may write a story or shoot some video that's gone viral, and you didn't know until I put it out there. Let's say you sent it to me and said, "Hey, where'd you shoot this?" I'm like, "Oh, in the bathroom over here. I saw this guy doing this," and I put it out there, and it goes berserk. Well, guess what? You've got all this notoriety through me and through other people that'll pick up that post or video, and that's how it starts. You know, you start from one Twitter follower to 10,000 to 100,000, and that's how it develops. But again, be patient because it's not going to happen. We were fortunate enough that it happened so quickly. But for everyone I've spoken to, the Malkins, Ed Morris, it took a long time to develop their blogs. I mean, and we're privileged also to be in Florida because, look, South Florida, or Florida as a whole, who do we have here? In 2010, we had the likes of Rubio, West. We have great politicians, national politicians that are, looked upon as being, our national leaders are looked upon as being presidential or even vice presidential. So, and we have access to them. So that's, in a lot of the other blogs here, aside from the Shark Tank, same thing. They have the access to these candidates, and that's why it makes us special. If you had a blog in Idaho, I'd say a couple prayers, because unless you're traveling to D.C. or some of these big states, you're pretty much done. You're not going to really get much talk unless you interview some moose that speaks. It's not. You're not going to get there. So there are advantages. So, but again, be patient. Share, retweet, tweet, do what you can, build those relationships. It'll come. You'll see the amount of people following you on Facebook and Twitter, and you'll see your numbers rising. But again, like I said, I've been to a couple points where I'm like, wow, it's stagnant. I only have 50,000 hits in 2 weeks as opposed to 100 from last month. You start to second guess yourself. How did that happen? Well, you have to push it. If you're not going to push it, you're not going to self-promote. No one's going to do it for you. Unless it's something newsworthy. And again, you're only going to have the same people talking about what you're doing. The minute you have like the mainstream media they don't want to cover anything we do. Okay, we're conservative bloggers, we're alternative media. They're not going to give you any cred. I remember the first time, the St. Pete Times always referred to us as a blog. Then they had it, after the fifth post, they used a blogger and then our name, but never a link, never cited the Shark Tank. And eventually, I think it was the Hill or the Huffington Post that first said the conservative blog, the Shark, and then everything rolled downhill. But after a while, what I'm getting at is after a while, you start building that cred, and then you don't have to justify what you're saying or doing with a video. It's always helpful because people are, this is a soundbite society. But they'll take your word for it. A lot of things we've written that say, even the liberal media say, oh, damn it, we got to post it because he said this, he must be true, because we've built credibility. We have significant credibility. And again, we started this small. So it'll happen. Again, you just have to be patient. But, when you get to that point, the target that I had mentioned earlier, it's a lot bigger. And it's been hit a couple times. Because you're both a target on the left and the right, and that's what it is. If you're a special interest, a blogger or a journalist, let's say you go after Islamic fundamentalism, like a lot of us do, but some more so than others, you really got a target on your back. You've got an RPG aimed at you at all times. These people are gunning for you. They're actually openly threatening you and your lifestyle. Not so much me, but someone like Tom, Joe Coffin is running for Congress. Those people put themselves out there for what they do, and what they do is honorable. But it's something to think about. It's good to get out there, but just know the consequences, or what could happen. It's great to have the notoriety and have everyone cherish you, and red carpet rolls out in some places, not in others. But it's good. It feels great in getting acknowledged. But again, there's a trade-off there. You have to take that with the bad. Now, as far as again, back to these elected officials, we touched on that. Hey, it's okay to call them out. I think we all agree it's okay to call them out on public record stuff. Personal stuff I don't delve into. I try to keep it whatever. If it comes across as public record, it's what could be corroborated. No hearsay. Everything we've did on Wasserman Schultz. She actually had we did a post on her last week about her second home and a cruise ship she took for $30,000. Well, she had to respond to it 2 days ago. And she said that it was a cruise ship that she took, that she was saving up money for years to take her kids on a bar and bat mitzvah, her twins. Okay, it was $33,000 plus. The ship was a 7-day cruise. Okay, so you have to make sure. And I have. If they were to ask me, hey, you said this, can you corroborate? Of course I can corroborate. Everything I put up there, I can corroborate. Even if I don't cite the source, you have to be able to corroborate it. Because the minute someone calls you out on it, then you lose cred. I put out stuff all the time that, hey, someone said this, knowing that I have the video or a document to corroborate. I don't have to put it up there. I don't. You know, I don't have to. We've gotten to the point where we don't have to do that, but we do sometimes if it's a big story and you want to make sure everything sticks. And that story stuck, and it went berserk on Wasserman Schultz, and she couldn't hide from it. But again, these elected officials and candidates, I mean, it's the fair game is to go after. I mean, don't go after personal something. Then you really jump the shark. Not to quote the Happy Days, but you know, you really jump the shark when you go after personally, like making fun of, let's say, Debbie's hair. We all want to do that. Like I mentioned that her hair straightened out when she saw me. Yes, okay, for a split second it did. Okay, but I'm not going to write that. I'm going to tell you guys that, but I'm not going to write that because then you become just one of them. When you start attacking them on how they dress, on what they look like, their hairstyle, bad hair, good hair, then you become one of the liberal Democrats. Just like one of them, and you have no cred. How many people read Think Progress and Wonkette? You see how they go after people? They have a huge reader base, but they're the left. They're the leftists. You can't believe what they say, or some of them sometimes they surprise you, and they have actually substantially based arguments and stories. But for the most part, I mean, they're just attacking people. You know, I attack people all the time, and I take great pride in it. But you know what? It's backed up by something. You know, and again, it puts people in a bind. But, you know, for instance, if you decide to blog tomorrow, and let's say candidate Smith over here is a great guy. He is best business acumen you can think of. Great candidate, but the problem is, guess what? He's a pedophile. He was arrested for pedophilia 10 years ago, I should say. Is he electable? Is he electable? You know, is that going to be used against someone? See, think about electability, not whether you like the candidate or not. Is the person electable? Okay? Case in point, there's a race here, and a couple of my detractors are here, several of them from way in the back, and they support one candidate. I think the candidate's great. Okay? He's running for Congress against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I think he's a good candidate. I thought he was a good candidate. Okay? Problem is this. He's got good business acumen, good background. Problem is that in 2006, I mean, I've been there. I've been arrested. I was arrested when I was 21 for a fist fight. Okay, but I'm not running for office. Okay, but it's still brought out about me. But the point is this, electability. If he's arrested in 2006 and you're running for office, don't you think that's going to come out? Don't you think the public record's going to, the Democrats, I mean, they've shown it. They've done it they do it every election cycle. They will bring out everything on that candidate and say, these are the Republicans. So my job is this, and what your job should be is this. Put it all out there. Let people decide for their own. You know, decide on their own who they're going to vote for. If they think that he is or she is more electable, fine. And then we just have to deal with the Democrats then. You know, but put it out there. I mean, it's again, making enemies. But in this particular case is instead of being a candidate that said, you know what, I'm going to put this past me. I made a mistake, and I put it past me. What does the dope do? He personally attacks me. That's the wrong thing to do, okay? Someone with a pen or a laptop, you don't attack them. It's just stupid. So then you start having fun with it. When you start having fun with somebody, you don't care because, hey, you just, you know, what are you going to besmirch me about? Okay, you put that out there, yeah, I was arrested, so what? You're running for office, I'm not. I'm not that dumb to run for office with this, you know. So, again, electability, and that's one example. But, I mean, I could go more. I can go on that, but I don't want to do that. But I want to get back to the social media aspect. So your tweets are powerful. Okay, if you tweet something now, let's say you have 1,000 followers, how many people are going to see that? A lot of people may not see it right off the bat, but you have 10 friends that see it, and they may like what you write. They may investigate your little post, and they may tweet it, and that's how it goes viral. We've seen this happen over and over and over again. So. Back to the Twitter, it's key. Focus on that. Befriend people. That's how we build our numbers. As far as the candidates, again, the electability process. I mean, we have to. You have to hold these people, hold their toes to the fire or their feet to the flames. Because if you don't, you know, if you're afraid to go after even the local Republican Party. You know, they're just as corrupt as the next person or the Democrat Party. I mean, I know of people on the Democrat side that come to me and they give me all this junk on them. I'm like, you guys, why are you guys telling me this? I have a source that is very close to Congresswoman woman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and she knows it. I think she knows who the person is, but there's nothing she can do about it, because that's how we're getting everything out on Debbie. But this is cutthroat. They're going to go after their own, just like the Republicans go after their own. But this whole thing that, hey, you can't talk ill about Republicans, I don't buy it, because what do you think primaries are? I mean, back in January, Romney was going after Newt Gingrich, Newt was going after Santorum, Ron Paul was going after everyone. I mean, they were talking bad about Republicans, talking about their past, talking about their records, or if not personal records, but in general, voting records or records as a governor. And no one saw anything wrong with that. There's no difference on a local level or state level than it is on a national level. It's the same thing. You have to be, and you can be afraid to do so. Look what happened then. I mean, you're not talking bad about Republican because that's how we get to Mitt Romney. We got Mitt Romney because we weeded out everyone else, for good or bad. I mean, I'm a Romney fan. I wasn't a big fan back then, but hey, he is who we have, and then we have him going up against President Obama. So, again, let's not be afraid of that. But another point I want to make is getting back to all this we were saying as far as being attacked and whatnot. This is what to expect, what you should expect. If you do decide to move forward on this and become more partisan like I am and a lot of bloggers around the country are, expect attacks, anonymous attacks. Expect phony blogs to come about you. Expect comments. Expect rumors that you're sleeping with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Expect those rumors. First, the rumors that you're being paid by Debbie, and then that you're sleeping with her. Okay? And then she boots you out the week later. So, I mean, it's a rumor. But just look, it's all fun, and we talk about this, it's funny. But at the time, when it happens and you're not prepared for it, you don't know, it's not funny. When your mom gets a call, hey, they're saying that you got arrested last night, or they're saying this. I'm like, what are you going to say? When the people you're dealing with, your friends, they're not all politically inclined or involved as you are. So what are they going to think? It's just something to think about how they're going to come after you. I don't want to go too long because I want to engage all you guys. You guys are here for a reason. You're not here to hear me talk. Contrary to what people think, I don't like listening to myself talk all the time. Not Sundays, at least, or Saturdays. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say, any questions you may have about just anything. Hold your horses. Let me finish. Jesus, look at this guy over here. But take this into consideration and ask the question. Ask as many questions as you want. Whatever it is, I'll answer them. I have nothing to hide. Full transparency right here. Right, AFP? Not you. Him first.
Yeah, you didn't mention YouTube, but when Congressman West spoke at tax day around, they did a 720p video, put it up on YouTube. And right away, ABC Reuters wanted to link. I knew they were going to chop it up. So I said, screw you guys. I gave it to Red State. They put the whole thing up. And within 2 days, like 2,000, whatever it is.
Well, but again, YouTube is you can pull videos off YouTube, and they're going to do that. They're going to hack up the video. They're going to get what you want, And so it's kind of interesting when you interview people. And I've known to interview a lot of people. I try to ask the questions so they have no out, or if they do, if I did give them enough wiggle room, it's enough wiggle room where when they edit the video, it's going to look hacked. So then people really second guess the video and they question it. I mean, someone just put a video out on me the other day that, they hacked it. I mean, I'm used to it. They hacked the video to try to make you look bad. And again, the only person that can discredit you is you. No one can discredit you. There could be a million blogs about you that accuse you of all this. It's not going to do anything. It's you. If you decide to jump your own shark and start blogging, however you blog, and really discrediting yourself, that's on you. No, Caleb and Eric, they're good guys. They're gonna put it up just as, they're not gonna splice it. Or what they do is they'll ask you, or other outlets will say, can I cut up your video? I'm gonna download it. Can I use it? And you give permission.
They just ask for a link.
Right. But I'm saying as far as other bloggers, if they feel they want to make a video, like Ben is a good friend of mine. He's like an associate producer or a writer over at Red State. He makes videos, so he'll ask me, hey, Hav, I want to grab your video and I'm going to make this video about it. Can I use it? Now, again, always use a watermark because, I mean, they can still scrub the watermark, but at least it's there. And you have proof that that's your video.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a still camera.
You were talking about corroborating things, you know, I was curious in reading your blog one time, you said two things that I'm curious about the sources. One thing was, Obama was really pissed off that he said Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That was one thing I was curious, like, you mentioned a source, but is that enough for corroboration? And the second thing is, you mentioned, I don't necessarily doubt this, but Lemieux, I was curious, like, Lemieux is supposedly blackmailed to become a senator, or because of crazy activity.
Let's talk about that one first. That was a guest post from Roger Stone. That was a guest post from Roger Stone. I have guest writers sometimes. Roger Stone, you familiar who Roger Stone is? Big Republican political operative from the Reagan era. Good friend of mine. He put up the post. I scrubbed the foul language, but he's pretty good with his sources. He's pretty good. So I ran with that story, and the byline was Roger Stone. As far as your point about Debbie being booted, that's factual. I have a this is privy, but no one will ever hear it. I have my source. I have an actual audio tape conversation that if this would ever come back to me, it's taped with the person citing their name and who they are and their position within the administration. So I just have to say I can't divulge my source, but it's factual. I wouldn't put it out there. I mean, the story went berserk on when we put it up about a month ago, and it's true. She is going to get booted, and they can't do it now. They can't boot her now because then he loses too much credibility. She's the only one that's going to run his agenda the way she's been doing it. Who else is going to do it? Who else would take that mantle? They can't. Anyone who follows Debbie is going to look weak. You know, she makes most liberal men look weak.
But are you saying that your answer about Roger Stone, are you saying that was accurate about Chris? You had information on Chris?
Yeah.
So you became a senator to kind of scaring him about releasing information?
Well, it wasn't so much Roger. Roger wrote it, but there's other people that corroborated with me. Okay, no, but it's true. I mean, look, I had to go toe-to-toe with George Lemieux, and I have nothing against George, way back in 2009. Okay, he personally and his people personally went back after me. I mean, I can't tell you stories of me and Marco sat there and said, Lemieux said this, he said this to both of our faces. The deals that were trying to get struck behind closed doors in 2010 to get Marco out of the race is like, sound fictional if we were to tell you. But the point is that Lemieux's who he is. He jumped out of the race for whatever reason. You know, I think he got out of the race. I can't tell you why he got out of the race. He dropped out. He couldn't raise money. Maybe that's what it is. But I think the whole Charlie Crist thing just was too much around his neck. I think the noose was tightening, and I think he couldn't get past that. It was too early. Maybe in 2 years from now, if he would have run in 2 years from now, it wouldn't be so much the pressure on him from the old Charlie Crist Mark group, because that's still very fresh in people's minds. I don't care what anyone says. They say it's been 2 years. No, we have Charlie. Every time Charlie Crist opened his big mouth, you know, just last week about the whole, what did he say about that dopey thing? He says so many dopey things. Whatever he said last week, it really ticked a lot of Republicans off. Like, look, he's going to be run as a Democrat. He's going to run against Rick Scott. So guess what? You know, it refreshes people's mind that, hey, that's Charlie's guy. Or Lemieux is Charlie's guy. Rich.
Well, I just wanted to say that I had the privilege of meeting Javier, and as you pointed out, thank you, that I recruited him for redcounty.com. And I remember when Bob Smith was running the campaign, and I got this one of those 1 o'clock in the morning calls, and somebody chewing my butt from the Bob Smith campaign is, who the heck is Javier Manjarres reporting that about my candidate? And I said, look, is it wrong? No. Is he reported accurately? Yes. Well, I'm supporting him. And I lost a friend. That's what you're going to do. Same thing with Tom Trento. Tom has been and both of them have taken major hits. But Tom just put out a video about 2 weeks ago. Got over 800,000 views. That's you've got, I want to re-emphasize what Javier said. The point of citizen journalism is you're going to take a hit if you tell the truth, and you have to self-market. If you don't self-market, you're not going to get anywhere. Pittsburgh.
Thank you. But really, 800,000 hits, Tom?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a couple 100,000. Wow, impressive. Next. No, go ahead.
Is Ozzy DeFeria really getting investigated?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, let's be clear and transparent here. Obviously, the guy sitting next to him is Mark McCarthy, who's the secretary of the Broward Republican Executive Committee. Mark McCarthy, and he's feeding you the questions.
No.
Okay.
I don't appreciate that. No, these are my own questions.
Okay. Ozzy DeFeria, I'll answer your question. Ozzy is. Okay, here's the thing. Well, I keep seeing you turn over and asking him questions. He's okay.
No, I just said one comment.
Okay. Well, to answer your question, Ozzy DeFeria, there's a police report against him. What he did, and I'll explain to you. This is one of the hits. What he did is he put out a website against his opponent in the race. At the very bottom of there's a blurb about me. There's a picture. I go, wait, that picture looks very familiar. And I looked at him, like, it's me smirking, and it has my last name, my first name, and it has it had like a date, 7/10/2008, or I don't know. I go, that looks so familiar. And this attacking me that, oh yeah, he was arrested, blah blah blah, violent criminal, I'm violent. So I kept scratching my head. Where have I seen that picture before? I go, I think that's my driver's license. Well, on his website, he scrubbed it since, but the Fort Lauderdale Police Department and the FDLE have already have the screen captures of it. He used my driver's license, made it black and white, because what I did, and again, to be transparent, I put up his arrest record and his mugshot, his true mugshot. So whoever doctored that made a false, well, they're dopes, because in an arrest record on the mugshot, it has the last name, first name, and their birth date, not an offense date. And it's usually no one's smirking except Rush Limbaugh. He'll laugh when he gets arrested, or whatever, his mugshot. But it was a falsified mugshot, so I took it straight to the Fort Lauderdale Police Department. They said, hey, this is where you live, you have to file it here. I filed the charges against it. I filed the report. They're looking into it, hence inquiry/investigation. FDLE got involved. FDLE's looking into it. From the looks of it, it could be an administrative issue. May not be criminal, but it's accurate. There's a police report. And I think I put out the actual police report, but I think it's in my wallet. I can probably give it to you if you want to actually see the actual document number. You can look it up. But it's true. Next question. David? What's up, buddy?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Listen, since we're talking about Mr. DeFaria, you know very well that his wife exonerated him publicly. How come you never talk about that?
Okay, is that your question? Okay, first of all, transparency. Mr. DeCrescenzo runs the Patriot Press.
Press, you all read it. Thank you very much.
Okay. He is in the DeFaria camp.
I
Okay.
have. Prove that, sir. I have never been in his camp.
Listen, I have pictures of you at the parade in Weston
I was in a parade.
with him. Okay, I'm going to answer his question. Let's not get off topic. Okay, his wife. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. What they don't want to see. Mr. DeFaria was arrested not for hitting his wife. He was arrested for smacking down her boyfriend, which was his ex at the time. Okay, we never wrote that he hit his wife. Okay, in the affidavit that the boyfriend wrote in 2005, he said, he said, he stormed in the house, grabbed my girlfriend by the arm, pushed her aside. Those are my words. That's in the police affidavit, and we supplied the affidavit. Now, what he's referring to is Mr. DeFeria's wife stood up at the BREC. I don't know why he didn't have the stones to do so. He stood up at the Broward Executive Committee, and she defended him. She said, he has never hurt me. He's never done anything. We never said that. But a couple days ago, I came across an arrest form from Weston, from the Broward Sheriff's Office, where it clearly stated, and there's an audio tape statement from Mrs. DeFeria at the time in 2005 with pictures of her bruise on her left bicep, where she said, where the cop stated, the sheriff stated that that DeFeria grabbed her by both arms and threw her aside. I'm paraphrasing that part. He did grab her by both arms and threw her aside. I don't know if he pushed her aside or threw her aside, I'm not sure, I don't remember, but that she pointed out, this is what he did to me, and they took pictures, and they have an audio statement from her and the boyfriend at the time. Okay, why haven't I defended her? I mean, what your question is, that's why, because she stood up there and she said she's never hurt him. Or he never hurt her, but then why in 2005 did she file that? Did she lie to the cops? It was an arrest form affidavit. So in other words, what she did is she falsely accused him of bruising her arm, then she lied to the police officer.
I don't know about that.
Go to the Shark Tank, and I think it's like the 10th article. You will see the actual arrest form embedded. What?
You keep beating a dead horse and you know it.
But, so did I answer your question? See, again, you hit them with the facts and they can't deal with it. It's there. I mean, I can't make up a signature in a police form. You can go to public records and pull up the police report. It's there. It says, hey, he bruised me. There's pictures and audio. Did I grab some audio recorder and say, and mimic her voice? And I mean, come on, please. Next question. Anyone else?
Hey, thanks for sharing that story. I never heard of it.
It's pretty funny. I mean, it isn't, though. And in hindsight, the story as a whole, it's not funny. You know, and it wouldn't, and my point is here, it wouldn't have been a story. It shouldn't have been a story. Because in the original story, and I actually spoke to Mr. DeFeria like in January, February, I said, look, this story's going to come out. You know, I'm probably going to write it. But I asked him, what about all this stuff? He's like, look, you know, I made a mistake when I was years ago. I'm like, you know what? He gave me a good out. So when I wrote it months later, I gave him an out. I said, I spoke to Mr. DeFeria, and he said that it was in his past, that he has a very amicable relationship with his wife. Why would I write that? I wrote that to give him the out, so hey, he can take it and say, look, you know what? Like he wrote, I made a mistake. People forgive that. So, but a good candidate will say, you know, right, I made a mistake, and move forward. You don't start attacking other people, because what does that make? How does that make you look? You attack other people because, you know, well, you feel that guilty about it? You just say it. I mean, it's proven. I mean, whether the charges are dropped against you or not, it's insignificant. It is what it is. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Xavier, what's the person, Tom, who writes articles about the Muslims?
Tom, right here, Trento. Black shirt. Stand up, Tom.
This is not what I'm saying. I gotta go.
United West, right? What's that? You have UnitedWest.com?
Yeah, UnitedWest.com.
Pam? .org.
Last question.
Okay.
A bad question. You said you're close with Marco Rubio when you talked about it. But when Michelle Obama comes to the house about the letters, Marco made a statement that said that he would not have been accused for a statement. I haven't seen anybody pull this into your fire.
I did. Did you see my post? I ripped into him. Listen, Marco, I spoke to him yesterday. And here's the thing with Marco. When he's mad at you, you won't hear from him for 4 to 5 days. You'll get a phone call from his wife. Or you'll get a phone call from his communications director like a day or two. Hey, funny joke. Joking around to kind of see if I'm really mad or not. Okay? When I saw that statement, I support Michelle Bachmann in that regard. She's absolutely true, right? And I sent him an email. Look, I'm going to rip you up, and you know I'm going to hold you to this. And if you search on the website Bachmann Rubio, it'll come up. I tore into him because it was very amateurish of him to come out and just take a side without knowing the facts. And I think I wrote that, hey, I don't know if he just read a snippet of it, or someone just told him about it, but I don't think he read the whole story. So I put her whole letter on the site, where all she did, she questioned. Rooney. It was Rooney too. But if you read the letter, Michelle Bachmann's letter, she specifically says that she's not saying that Abedin is part of the Muslim Brotherhood. She's saying that she could have ties, indirect ties, because of her family's affiliation. That's accurate. She's dead on. And now you have all these other things coming out on her that's making her look like gold. You know, I think at the end of the day, Michelle Bachmann's going to get, she's going to look like she's going to be smelling roses, and then Rubio's going to look really stupid, and I told him that.
Let me add one thing to that. I work with a team that's briefed her. Watch what happens in the next few days.
Yeah, more's coming out. Look, more is coming out, and I did a post today on Alan West's video yesterday where he was playing politics. He didn't want to answer the question about does he defend her, and I asked him afterwards. He was not going to say that because then it puts him out there, okay? But the fact is, if you look at the video, he defends her without defending her, without saying her. But Mark was absolutely wrong on that.
Every congressman that did stand by her side, we always made her side.
Oh. Cantor.
Any of the congressmen that hasn't stood by their side, they would give our national security. So I would, I would make phone calls to the congressman, why aren't you now speaking in defense?
Who's rating the name?
But that's the thing is, Alan and Mark will say we need transparency and we need security. Look, it's all about national security. If you have, regardless, look, Marco's most ignorant statement I've ever heard him made was in that post, or read what he said. He said, I've spoken to a lot of people in Washington, and they've seen that they say she's a great person, and blah 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 blah. Who'd you speak to, McCain? I question that, and again, I'm close to him, and I question him, and again, he won't call me for a couple of days. Actually, called me today, and it's been like 5 days since I wrote that post, so yeah, I was accurate. But the point is, he's wrong.
Candidates that are running, like Ozio, like Karen Harrington, like Joe, I would question him and say, before it comes out where Michelle smells like a rose right now, it's like controversial, I told you to fire right now and say, boom, where are you standing right now? Before it comes out.
Well, that's a good point because Ozzy DeFaria has come out against Michelle Bachmann.
What about Karen Harrington?
I don't know. I can ask them.
Oh, you're the reporter. You should
No. But I haven't touched the story. Absolutely. I will tell you what. For you, Pam, I'm going to email Carrington's campaign and Coffin's campaign. No, I agree. Listen, I'm with you. I agree with you.
If you want to know what's behind the scenes working, remember the name Grover Norquist. I will tell you, and we've exposed it, it's Grover Norquist who is pushing the Muslim Brotherhood Palestinian message. And he is a strong, powerful guy in the Republican Party. And we've exposed him, and that's what's causing Marco Rubio's and of the world.
He endorsed
We're
Rubio.
good men to make a stupid statement. And I wrote the same column. I said, he's mouthing John McCain. You don't think I...
But remember, Marco made the stupid statement, I think, simply because he's positioned to be VP, or one of them. So I think he's just doing just little political posturing. Again, he should just kept his mouth shut. I told him he should just shut up. He should have just kept his mouth shut. Right, I agree with you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? One more?
I get your newsletter. Why is it more being made of Debbie's failure to ever release a tiny?
I think there was. You know what's so...
It couldn't have gotten more than 2 lines in anything.
As a matter of fact, no. As a matter of fact, one of the opponents in the race, Karen Harrington, called her out. No, it did. Fox News and Weekly Standard and National Review Online picked it up 3 times. They kept regurgitating that statement. But you haven't seen it on national TV. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's been all over the blogs. I mean, I reported on it because it was rightfully so. It called her out, and Anthony Mann, who fluffs up for the Sun Sentinel, he gave her an out on everything. So if they don't pick it up, they don't pick it up. But it's been reported. I think it's Aventura. Listen, thank you very much.